Welcome back to Daily Dose of Hebrew for this weekend edition. Today we're going to look closer at the accents of 1 Samuel 3:17. So let's begin by reading the text and then translating it. Let's read together. Vayomer, ma hadavar asher diber elecha, al na techached mimeni, ko ya'aseh lecha Elohim veko Yosif, im techached mimeni davar. Mikol hadavar asher diber elecha. So now let's look at a translation here, and we get at the beginning, and he said. This is Eli as the subject, and it's introducing the direct speech. And he said, what the thing, we might supply a to be verb here, what was the thing, or what was the matter, which he spoke to you, do not now, or do not please. We have the negation all with na, please or now, a request. Do not now hide from me it. We might supply a direct object. Do not now hide it from me. Thus may God do, and the may do, God here's the subject, and then may do is implied in this jussive, ya'aseh, may God do to you, and thus may he add, if you hide from me a thing. And we might ask, naturally, what is the thing? Hide from you a thing of what? A thing from all the thing, or all the matter, which he spoke to you. Here a reference to the vision. And so there's our translation, and now that we have that under our belt, let's begin to break the verse into segments based on the accents. Now, this verse is long, so let's find the first athnach, or let's find first the athnach, and then we'll break the verse there. The athnach is here, and then now what I want to do is move everything around so that we can look at just that segment of the verse. So now with the athnach segment, we want to find the near subordinate disjunctive accent, and it's the tifka here. Now the next disjunctive accent to look for is the far subordinate of the athnach, and that's the zakef katon here. Now these lines happen to break up well with the font size so that the zakef segment is now the top line while the tifka segment is the bottom. That's convenient for us. In the zakef segment on top, we have two further disjunctive accents. Now first we have the pashta here, which is the near subordinate disjunct within the zakef segment. And now, next, we have the revia, and that's the far subordinate disjunct of the zakef. So if we look just in the zakef segment, we have further disjuncts. So now by way of reminder, or even if this is the first time you've walked through this with us, remember that we have a hierarchy of sorts with the accents, and we keep working down the hierarchy, finding the near and far subordinates for each subsequent accent. So we found the athnach first, then the near and far subordinate of the athnach, namely the tifka in the zakef. Then, within the zakef segment, we have the pashta and revia as near and far subordinate accents, respectively. Now, when translating, we pause syntactically at the revia, and then he said. And this very light grammatical pause tells us that this subject-verb combo is set off from the direct speech of Eli that begins with ma. Next, we translate to the pashta, which is another light pause. And if we add in the to be verb, we have a full question in the direct speech. So we have what is the thing, is how we might say this. And this obviously needs to be qualified more, and hence we have the relative clause that comes next. But up to the pashta, we do in fact have a complete clause. What is the thing? The next pause would come at the zakef and include the complete relative clause, which is this whole section, asher diber elecha. So now that we've made it to the zakef katon, we don't translate anything after the zakef in this segment, and we don't let anything in this segment translate into the next segment. So we kind of know these words all go together. Vayomer, ma hadavar asher diber elecha, all goes together. Zakef marks all of these first words as a unit. Now the second line here is translated as one full unit with a light break at the tifka, setting off the subject and predicate from the prepositional phrase from me. So here's the subject predicate, al na techached, do not now hide, and then that's set off from the prepositional phrase from me. So now let's jump to the Saluk segment to complete the verse. In the Saluk segment now, we want to look for the same hierarchy of accents. Now, since the Saluk is the same, quote, weight or power, we may say, in the hierarchy as the Athnach, we're going to look for the same near and far subordinates as before. So first we find the Tifka here, and next we find the Zakef Katon here. Now I say the first Zakef Katon is what I would want to say here because this Saluk segment is so long that it actually has two Zakef segments. The second is here. I actually thought ahead just a bit today, and I have each of these segments on different lines to break them off. In the first line, we have only one other disjunctive accent, and it is the pashta here. The other accents in this first line are conjunctive. So the first line is this, thus may God do to you, and thus may he add. And I think you can see how those two thus clauses get broken apart at the pashta there. In the second line, the subordinate accent is the pashta again. Now, the pashta this time is a doubled pashta. The pashta is a post-positive accent, meaning that it occurs at the end of the word, not necessarily on the accented syllable. But when the accented syllable is not the final syllable, the pashta will often be doubled, with the first one marking the accented syllable of the word, and the second pashta being a post-positive at the end of the word. So in the second line, we have the condition of the curse formula. It's highlighted here. In the first line, we have, may the Lord do so to you and more also. And then here in the second line, already highlighted, if you hide from me a thing. Finally, in the last line, we begin with the prepositional phrase, further defining the thing that Samuel is not to hide from Eli. And the tifka marks the end of the prepositional phrase. The verse then ends with the relative clause, continuing the explanation of the body of what Samuel is to tell Eli, which he spoke to you. So we have on this last line, from all the thing or all the matter, break, which he spoke to you. So that will be the end for today. That was a long verse for us. And let us know if you have any questions or if you catch any mistakes. We'd love to hear about those. I do personally always appreciate the feedback. Until next time, shalom.